Good afternoon. Welcome to the Long Live Third Parties podcast. Free Press Media Press Inc., a third parties books publisher, sponsors this podcast. I'm Andrew Bouchard.
Greetings. Greetings, Paul.
Hi there.
How's it going tonight, Paul?
Andrew, it's going great. Thank you.
Excellent. Welcome to the Long Live Third Parties podcast. Friends, today we have Paul McClintock from the Christian Liberty Party. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. Let's get started by you kindly giving us an introduction to yourself and how you got involved with the Christian Liberty Party.
Sure. I first got involved with the Republican Party when I was living in Texas, but I moved to Washington State in 1995, and the situation here was one of having to sort of learn the ropes of who to vote for in the local elections, and in getting to through that process, I developed friendships with like-minded folks that led eventually to getting invited to a meeting that was introducing what was then the Washington Taxpayers Party. And the interest in that group was to start a local county party in my county. And so I joined that party at that time in the late 1990s. And it soon thereafter, at the state party level, changed its name to the American Heritage Party. And then in about but I was very helpful in a committee that was formed to write bylaws and have convention to start the county party, Snohomish County in Washington State, just north of Seattle. And in that process, became familiar with state bylaws and national bylaws. And being currently, I'm a professional parliamentarian. My expertise in the area was used by the party to help rewrite the state and national bylaw, or the state bylaws. And eventually, the party had disconnected from the what was originally called the Taxpayers Party and later the Constitution Party, and we started our own national American Heritage Party with a state party, and I helped write those bylaws for state and national.
So your party was an offshoot of
what's now the Constitution Party.
Okay. So kindly give an overview of the platform of the Christian Liberty Party.
Well, our platform is quite frankly very similar to the, currently is very similar to the Constitution Party, I think, but it is quite conservative, pro-life, pro-gun rights, and pro small government and local government. And the we haven't had a recent review or rewrite of our platform to handle all of the current issues with transgender and gay marriage. Those have not actually been addressed since we last had a session to deal with the platform itself. So it certainly is in the process of being eventually updated to address some of these issues, but we are very Bible focused in our approach to what government should be. We are a explicitly Christian political party, and we require membership to adhere to and agree to that the Bible is the basis for our political beliefs.
I see. One thing I noticed on your website when I'm looking at your platform is something I don't see on every party's webpage is a mission and vision. Since that relates to your platform, kindly explain the mission and vision of your party.
Sure. So our mission is the Christian Liberty Party exists to help reclaim America's political institutions and culture for the glory of God and the advancement of the Christian faith. And to this end, we equip Christians as statesmen, mobilize Christian citizens, and advance Christian solutions. And then our vision statement is much longer than that. We have actually almost a term paper in length, 18 chapters of explaining in more detail how we see this becoming a reality. And it includes a league of families. It includes our message being based on our view of God, based on the Bible and our principles that are rooted in Scripture, and then our platform to grow out of those principles. So the principles that we have are a little bit more succinct. And so our first principles deal with the sovereignty of God, and that God's authority is the one that's absolute. There's a human authority that's underneath it. We deal with God's lordship over politics and human affairs. So we deal with law and ethics and our principles, and our providence and sanctions section of the principles says God governs in the affairs of men and nations, and very tangibly blesses and or curses men and nations to the degree that they love, honor, and obey his laws or rebel against them. And so that gives you a flavor of where we go in our first principles. We have governmental principles of self-government under God, covenantal institutions, including family, church, and civil government, and limited government, oaths related to public office, and a covenant faithfulness and continuity are the topics of our governmental or political principles. And we have each one of these principles cross-referenced with Scripture.
Yes, I noticed that on your website. I saw a bunch of footnotes on your page. So what are the plans of your party?
We are philosophically oriented toward a bottom-up rather than a top-down approach, rather than running a person for president of the United States without having any built-up structure to achieve that. Our focus is more on developing citizens first in local voter clubs, we call them. And so any like-minded folks that would, whether they actually join the party or not, that if they are philosophically aligned, we encourage them to form local voter clubs that meet together to figure out the local candidates in their area, who they should support, and in some cases run for office, but usually at a more local level. And so our strategy is to encourage folks to gather together with like-minded folks in their vicinity to do some lobbying, do some campaigning, do some self-education, do some praying, and with those kinds of activities, develop into a political body at a grassroots level that have people that can help sustain a campaign for a local election and get local folks elected. So that's our bottom-up approach.
Good to hear. So if you listen to any podcasts that you also recommend to our audience, what would they be?
That's one I'm not gonna be a good person to ask for. I don't listen actually to a lot of podcasts in that sense. I listen to some various things on the radio for my personal edification, which I wouldn't call podcasts. but there's a radio program that's archived called The Narrow Path that I thoroughly enjoy. And so I'll leave it at that.
Okay, fair enough. How about book recommendations?
Well, our party has a library of books, and we have a actual course that can be viewed. The videos are online and can be watched for some lectures that have been given, and for a candidate or party leader in our party, a person has to actually demonstrate some achievement in these scholastic areas. And the very first book that we encourage people to read and study and is something that we developed ourselves at our family camps. And the book is called First Steps to Statesmanship, Essays on the First Principles of Christian Statesmanship. And it's a paperback book that one can order right off of the website, christianlibertyparty.org.
Okay, is it under your catalog section?
Yes, it can be ordered under the, let's see, right off of the internet homepage. There's a link on the left called, let's see, it's described in the catalog, but and the program guide, but to order it, there's, I believe, forms and docs is where, nope, that's not where you order the things. There is a, well, it is, okay, so you do go to the catalog, and from the catalog you would get to the order form.
Okay, sounds good. If they go to the catalog part of the page, they can go to that book and the other stuff and then order them if they want.
On the forms and docs webpage, there is a link to the product order form as well.
Okay, so both pages, the catalog and the form and docs.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. So how can people out there, whether they're in your area or whether they're elsewhere, support your party?
Well, at that same forums web page, there is an application to join the party, and that would be one step. And also, if they, to help the party grow, they could actually recruit like-minded folks to form a voter club that and go through the educational materials that we have online when they're not busy with campaigning for or lobbying state or local government.
Okay, sounds good. So people can go to your webpage and fill out the application form under the forms and documents.
Correct.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the program today and sharing your party, and may your party flourish and may you get all the members you need.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Have a great night. Take care.